Hey, what's up, YouTube? So I just got finished with my stream. We had an amazing stream. I was able to find a level 4 in power and a mirror shard, and I wanted to go over like the currency method I'm currently trying out real fast, and how I was able to obtain a mirror shard through it, and whether the method is worth doing because it actually requires quite a significant investment. And then, of course, I want to go over my gear overview real fast just to see how I've actually changed the character. As you can see, I have 4,741 ES now and 806 life, so things are looking a lot better. I actually even have some XP this time around, 20% XP, so I really believe that I can get to 100 with Exsanguinate and that it shouldn't be too bad. I'm still playing Exsanguinate. I did try out Reap earlier today, and let me tell you, Reap is not the skill to be playing. If you're playing Reap, you should probably remove the skill gem, delete it, and then pick up Exsanguinate and thank me for it. Because Reap is absolutely awful clear compared to Exsanguinate, and I don't think a single target would ever warrant skipping over Exsanguinate. I don't know why the skill is so bad, but it's like playing a melee sweep but without any AoE. But maybe my AoE was just really bad, but regardless, the skill is horrible compared to Exsanguinate. And I actually am sad that I spent 5 chaos to buy the gem to try it out. But anyhow, let's get straight into the gear overview and let's see what upgrades I got today, because I actually did spend a lot of money today. Now I realize I said I spent a lot of money on my gear, but I actually don't think I actually upgraded anything on my actual body. So it's all in the passive tree. So this is exactly the same. Nebulous, double damage, same helm. Craft life on it right now just to have a little extra life, 806 life. This amulet's still the same. I still have percent ES crafted. Same to Call of the Brotherhood. Same Saqawals. Prism Guardian, I was debating getting a Grace Prism Guardian, and I might still get one just to be able to run an extra aura. If I was able to run an extra aura, I would probably use Herald of Thunder or Dread Banner. Dread Banner would be pretty defensive setup, so maybe I'll do that if I get more gem sockets. But pretty much now the name of the game is how can I get more gem sockets to run more auras, because I actually have a lot of like mana left over. I don't really need all this mana to cast my skill. I actually don't even, I have a level 13 clarity. This clarity could be level 1 for the minimum amount of reservation, as my skill actually costs life, which is amazing. So right now we can get one gem socket from the amulet, one gem socket from the Call of the Brotherhood, and one gem socket from the shield. So basically we can add 3 more auras on, and they can be really low cost auras like summon skitterbots, maybe blood and sand, but that doesn't count as an aura, or herald, another herald. So, or you can even link up enhance to what's it called, period of ice for more pen. So there's a lot of upgrades we can do, so I'm looking forward to it, getting the gem socket upgrades. So now we have the boots, which is the same, so as cannot be frozen. Still trying to change out the Torrent Reclamation to getting a crit multi belt, because I don't need the skill duration anymore. So I'll probably try to sell it overnight. And I actually tested out a few Hands of the High Templar pair with +2/+2 of LA weakness. And overall the damage was really not that crazy difference. So it was like a 6 to 7% difference, but then you still lose the explode, and explode is kind of like nerfed. Or this explode is not the same as explode chest or explode nebulous from last league, but it's still better than nothing, and I don't think the small amount of damage is worth it. But if you had like a +2/+2/+2 Hands of the High Templar, then yeah, it would be worth swapping. Now this is only if you have a +2/+2 Asenath's Gentle Touch. If you don't have one, then yeah, you should definitely be buying a Hands of the High Templar with +2/+2 LA weakness for around like 10 to 15 exalts. It's definitely worth it. Now for this build, I was able to pick up this beauty over here for 20 exalts. There's a 35% effect T1 ES with attributes and intelligence. Now I'll probably roll this a bit more with reforge suffix while keeping prefix, and that's the best way to roll this jewel. So what you pretty much are looking for is to have 35% effect with T1 ES, and as soon as you have that, you can just reforge the suffix over and over again until you hit it. Now this is pretty hard to roll generally. A lot of people suggest rolling 35% with alts and then imprint regal and try to hit something like that, but regardless, it's a pretty hard item to roll, and I think I was pretty lucky to be able to pick it up for 1920 exalts. Now if you look over my tree real fast, I made some quick changes. I dropped this cluster here because it turns out that mana is actually just not needed on this build because I don't use the mana at all. So I actually had too much mana left over. And each one of these nodes gives me 5% ES, so I switched these over to 9%, 9%, 9%. And then I had some extra points left over. I don't know how, but oh yeah, I took out one of these points, 3% aura effect, and I put these points into spell crit and multi. So this actually increases the multi a lot. So this is 40% multi for 3 points. So now you can see that Exsanguinate has a multiplier of 366%. And it's been a pretty hard journey to try to get multi on the jewels, because the jewel you can see here that you can only get multi with multiplier for spells and global crit multi for this setup. And this is the same for EK. Now I know a lot of people are playing EK too, and that's actually one of the issues, is trying to get double multi jewels, because the only double multi jewel you can get is multiplier for spells with global crit multi, and those are actually extremely expensive. So that's why you see a lot of people say when you play EK you should use Malagaros for a long time, or Face Breakers, because of how hard multi is to get on the build. I also dropped some more RMR because at a certain point with too much reservation of my life, I was actually not reservation of skills. I was actually not at low life anymore. And a low life threshold is 50%. So I wanted to stay below 50%. So I was dropped the RMR jewel and I picked up one of these. The phasing on kill is actually super nice because without Voidwalkers, we're unable to get phasing on kill or phasing at all. And having phasing just makes the game feel a lot better. So having this jewel with the 33 ES and 33 life, which helps our total life pool, with the multi was actually really good. I paid around 100 chaos for this. And overall this build just doesn't die to chaos damage anymore. Like, I've done hunter maps, I've done the hunter, what's it called, a conquer, and it was still no problem. Petrified blood, 806 life, even with 19% chaos res is not an issue at all. I guess with the flask it's at 54%. So if I get some chaos res on these clusters, I can have 75% chaos res, and it should not be a problem at all. And you can definitely play this setup with how my character is built and not have to worry about chaos damage. In fact, the character is actually tankier because you have 5.5k total HP, or effective HP, and the 800 portion is protected by petrified blood, which means that you take half damage. So you in reality have like 6 to 6.5k total ES or HP to go through, and this is much tankier than my old Spark setup, which only had 4k. It's just something to keep in mind if you ever wanted to swap. So anyhow, let's go talk about how to make the helmet, because I know some people are asking in the comments from the previous video and on stream about how to craft a helmet. So I'm going to go over quickly how we're going to craft this helmet. Now this is a Craft of Exile, and this is an emulator, crafting emulator site. So here is how you can practice the crafts and be able to see exactly how rare or how hard a craft is to do. So I'm going to start out with a hubris. Here we have 6 to 7%. So you pretty much already have an elevated base. So I'm just going to use this. So you generate the export data, and this saves the item because we're going to use this as an Awaken base. So now we're going to restart. We're going to choose a new helmet. Here, create new helmet. Int. And now we want to get a Warlord helmet, and preferably it'll be 30 quality with perfect fossils, or you can just use Hillock. Whatever you want. Now that the tier 4 craft goes up to 30%. So now I think the easiest way to do so all you want is T1 multi. So basically you want to make sure it's the only crit roll. So maybe you can use some reforged crits, right? Okay, maybe I chose the wrong thing. So reforged crit. So you can just do this a few times with the harvest until you get T1 multi, and there you have it. So now you need to make sure, is this the only Warlord modifier? So you see here how it says Warlord. So now this means it's ready to be awakened, or with the 7% base that you have. And it's probably better if you just buy the helmet with an enchant already. So you want to buy a hubris, put a Warlord exalt onto it, and reforge crit. So now you have T1 multi, right? So now we can use the awaken orb. And now we paste the data from our old helm that we used. And now you can see that here we have the helm. Yes, the multi. You can choose to elevate this mod, but it makes it a lot more costly. I'm not really sure if it's worth the cost at the moment. And now you also have the reservation of skills. Now this is considered bad because we got a suffix. And you can see, I'll be able to tell you why. So if you get a suffix, we can try it again, right? And here we got a suffix again. Now this suffix is probably good enough and I would probably keep it. But ideally you want to aim to not get a suffix. So here, nice, we finally got one without a suffix. So you can either, so if you get a suffix, you pretty much just have to live with it. There's no way to do non-influence to influence or anything like that to remove it. So that's like the bane of crafting now without harvest, is that you have to live with what you get for the suffix. But say you got lucky, right, and you didn't get a suffix, so this allows us to use beast crafting to add on avian if you're trying to play CI. Now, if you're not trying to play CI and you want a free chaos res, all you have to do is, now this kind of crafting is kind of expensive, but it's the best way to do it. You can do suffixes cannot be changed. Oh wait, what? Suffixes cannot be changed here, right? And you get back to harvest and use reforge chaos. You re-roll chaos and it will not touch the suffixes and it will give you another suffix modifier. So you can see here we got guaranteed chaos res. Now this is 1 out of 6 to get T1 chaos res. So now we have our suffixes completed and all we have to do is, there's two ways to go about it. If you want a lot of ES, the best way to do it is to craft on suffixes cannot be changed and then use the harvest re-roll with defense more likely. This will kind of guarantee you or give you a very high chance at getting 2 ES mods. So now we do it and wow, we only got 1. So are we going to live with this? This is actually not that great. So say you want to go again, right? So we didn't get multiple. So here we didn't get anything good. So you can see that it's kind of annoying to do this. Reroll defenses more likely. But this is actually a pretty expensive way to do it, right? So eventually you could, but you could retry it every time. Now you don't need to settle for something super crazy, but let's say like something like this is good enough. And now is the step that is kind of annoying, is you have to go buy an Aceling Exalt. So Aceling Unveil, this Exalt. So it's here you can see it adds a veiled prefix, right? And then you go to your June and unveil it and it'll give you 3 choices. So right here we hit the thing that we're looking for. +2 to level of socketed AoE gems. And this is what we want. And I think the chance is like, I don't know if it's actually 50-50, it's probably lower. But once you have this, you got the +2, so it's pretty much an alpha sound now. Then you just go to your bench and craft on the other, what's it called, flat ES. So here you just want to craft on flat ES, and it's like 223 ES. Not the worst, not the best helm, but it's definitely very good, and honestly looks pretty good to me. So now, there is something that you could do to make it a lot cheaper if you don't want to deal with getting like a perfect ES roll. And say like right here, you have suffixes cannot be changed. You can just use a veiled chaos orb. And here you can see that you get the veiled prefix. So now you can unveil it and yeah, we got lucky again, we got it. And then the bench, you probably just want to craft on like flat ES or something, right? So now you would just craft on, I don't know, percent ES is more, or so yeah, you can craft on percent or you can craft on flat, whatever is more. So you can see the helm is slightly worse, but you got the important part, which is the +2. So if you wanted to get a better ES roll, you would probably have to do the reforged defense, but obviously it makes it a lot more expensive. But this just shows you that you can use a veiled chaos orb to do this like relatively cheaply or without worrying about it as much. And if you ever fail any of these steps, you can just craft on suffixes cannot be changed and do a veiled chaos orb. And if your prefixes are fully filled out, then you will have to go buy this harvest craft of reforge keep suffixes until you get an open prefix. But basically, that's how you craft a helm, and you can craft this on an Archdemon Crown, and the Archdemon Crown is more damage, but the ES is lower. And make sure when you're crafting the helm, the main base you want the Awaken Orb onto, that you get a helm enchant, because getting a helm enchant is pretty annoying later on. So buy a Hubris with the helm enchant, or one that has one already, and then use a Warlord Exalt on it. And if you can find a Warlord helm with the helm enchant on already, then it should be even easier. Basically, I hope that helps you out with crafting the helm. And you should try using this emulator out. It's pretty nice to see how the crafts work out and to learn about how to craft. Now I bought some of these Harbinger things. So this is a Harbinger stone with Auspicious, the valuable currency shards. 14% chance to drop additional stack of currency shards, additional stack, so laden, auspicious. Now this ran me about like 15, 16 exalts for the full setup, but I was able to drop a mirror shard. Now I don't want to talk too much about the method, but pretty much you just use right here, Harbinger, area contains additional Harbinger, and then drops additional stack of currency shards, and probably a big Harbinger, King Harbinger, we'll call it. So basically you just run one of those maps and you hope to get ancient orbs and exalted shards, or ancient shards and exalted shards. I will have more testing after I do it on stream. I'll do it on stream all day tomorrow, but now I just wanted to play you a few clips. I was able to find a mirror shard from doing it, but I don't want to jump to conclusions and say that the method is super profitable until I've done it a little bit more. But even with more testing, it's still going to be very high variance. So I'm just going to play you a clip of the mirror shard. I found a level 4 in power, and I was actually able to do Awakener on this character, Deathless, on A9. So I just wanted to show how strong Exsanguinate can be, and I really believe that Exsanguinate can reach level 100, and that it is actually a very strong setup. But anyhow, I hope you enjoy the clips. Hey, the damage is pretty good on Exsanguinate. What the heck happened? It looks like the gem swap to control destruction changed everything. Because having chain in your damage league is just not good.
The others found strength in their projections. They became reliant on them. I'm not so foolish. Be silent.
Hey, thanks for follow. WH Re, appreciate the support.
Die.
Watch guilty crumble.
You're gonna go for a headhunter for a stacker at some point? Probably not. I actually do not think headhunter is that good of a belt. Unless you're doing ultimatums or inscribed ultimatums. Or you're juicing maps somehow. If you have Beyond on your map all the time, then yeah, headhunter is probably one of the best belts in the game.
Rain of stars.
Is life really interesting enough to warrant all this pain?
Your lives are meaningless.
That was a fast face. Oh no. Headhunter is a crutch for poop builds. Well, RP single target.
Pointless.
Wait, let me kill the boss real fast. No.
Death, my heart.
What did you say? Did you dare to insult headhunter? I mean, it's also a very expensive item now, isn't it?
I have seen beyond
Oh, it's gonna be a wild fight.
everlasting fire.
Oh no.
You will long for
Non-existence. Die. Silent. Die. I have seen
No.
beyond everlasting fire.
Nice. I did it deathless. See,
I felt something.
it worked. Say it to his face. That's bad. That's a pretty good head. Power level 4. What the hell? Hey, that's pretty good.
The wind conspires with the flames. A second victory.
Nice. Wait, come on, we need some exalted shards. A mirror shard! I'm telling you! Oh, who wants to buy the what's it called, the Watchstone
I
set now?
prefer not to rely over my... Drive the Syndicate into a corner and enrage
Tell you,
it.
see. So anyhow, I hope everyone enjoyed all the clips. It was pretty fun to find a mirror shard. It was actually my first time finding a mirror shard after all these years of playing. I've never found a mirror or a mirror shard alone. Because last time the mirror shard dropped, it was in a party and I was doing Valdos here. And back then, Auspicious was like bugged to drop too many mirror shards. So it actually got hotfixed last league in the middle of a map. Actually, I realized that, oh, it was no longer dropping so many exalted shards. Overall, the strategy is pretty fun because it's pretty low investment. All you pretty much need to do is put Harbinger on your map device, and it should be pretty good. But I hope that this video has showed you that Exsanguinate is more than viable, and most importantly, you can play Low Life with Saqawals and eventually swap to CI that way. You can slowly prepare for the swap just by having some Saqawals on, and maybe you could even use a shield rather than Prism Guardian. I'll try to explore it more in the coming days, and I hope the helmet craft will help you out, because crafting the helmet is probably one of the first big upgrades I would recommend, as it gives you a lot of ES and damage at the same time. But anyhow, everyone, be sure to tune into my stream tomorrow. I'll be doing Harbingers all day, and I'll have a more definitive conclusion about how good the actual investment is and how good the payout was. But anyhow, everyone, thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content and the diary. And I'll see you next time, and good night. And I hope you find more mirror and mirror shards than I do.